such that they want to see the live raw cash. And I hear
Parliament convened on Tuesday this week gone, and Nigel Clark, the Minister of Finance, stood up and told the country what each of these positions would now be earning.
I was in high school when we won in '89. I graduated high school and PNP was still government. I graduate university and PNP was still government. I get my first job in this country and PNP was still government. I buy my house as an adult and PNP was still government. That's the beauty of 18 years of continuous, sensible, democratic leadership that put the progress of the people at the center of the agenda and not the progress of friends.
Dean Williams advocating for a performance-based pay for Jamaican politicians. So this was in the Gleaner. As Jamaica seeks to strengthen its democratic institutions and enhance governance practices, there is a growing momentum among citizens and experts to implement performance-based pay for politicians. This progressive approach aims to align incentives, foster accountability, and drive efficient and effective governance. By tying remuneration towards economic growth, poverty reduction, improved education, healthcare, infrastructure development, rather than merely relying on rhetoric, politicians would be driven to implement real and tangible. SMART, that's the acronym for this action. It's SMART, so it means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Solutions that positively impact the lives of Jamaicans.
though they are conflicted and flip-flopping.
By establishing clear and measurable performance indicators such as progress on legislative reforms, fighting social development targets, politicians would be held accountable for their performance. This would create a culture of merit and competence, where those who demonstrate tangible results are rewarded.
Importance of this measure. Unfortunately, by virtue of how it has unfolded,
While lackluster performance is appropriately addressed. How is it going to be monitored so that it is done fairly? It says regular assessments of politicians' performance would encourage transparency and provide an opportunity for constructive feedback. Furthermore, the involvement of independent bodies and citizen participation would add credibility to the evaluation process, ensuring that assessments are unbiased and reflective of public sentiment. You can let me know what you think in the comment section. So this is being proposed by Dean Williams.
and I've said to my MPs and I've said to the ministers that the price of this, the cost of this policy is accountability. We were not able to put first and foremost the accountability measures, but we have established, and I will announce shortly, a series of accountability measures.
I'm Dr. Michael Abrahams. I'm here by myself. I'm not part of an organization. I'm here as a Jamaican and I feel offended because of what just took place. I think they deserve a raise. The Prime Minister's salary was rubbish. The man works hard. The man deserves, all of them deserve a raise. I have no problem with that, but the amount by which their salaries was increased, that amount, and the timing of it coming after the nurses were literally, the teachers recently were literally begging for something that made sense. It's unconscionable, it's arrogant, and it's insensitive. So we can't accept that. And This doesn't mean that the opposition are saviors either, because you sit down and taking it. I haven't heard the opposition say we're going to take less too. I haven't heard that. In all fairness, when Bruce Golding became Prime Minister, he took a 15% pay cut. In all fairness, I didn't hear the opposition saying, no, we're not going to take all of that. So the system is corrupt. We're in a bad way. But I don't think we should sit down and take this. I know too many nurses and teachers and police struggling. So no, I'm offended by this.
So what would you like to see happen now?
For them to have the conscience to address us and say, you know what, it's true, that was a bit too much. We hear the cry of the people and we're gonna take it back down a bit. They deserve a raise, definitely.
So
and the government general again, but 34 million for what?
Justice
For
League
medal and
Jamaica is a
coronation
group of passionate
really?
Jamaican law
Seriously
students
though?
and
34
young
million,
lawyers
really?
using the
No
law
disrespect, but
to
really?
make positive changes in our nation. Current mission is to challenge the unjust salary increases granted to Jamaican cabinet ministers through legal means, and this is through in-depth research. They have identified the provisions in the law that makes this move illegal. So they want to help Jamaicans to legally challenge this gross misconduct on the part of the leaders. So at the bottom it says sign our petition and go to @justiceleague.ja. Bishop Dr. Alvin Bailey, head of the Holness Christian Church, chairman of Jamaica, and the leader of the Jamaica Evangelical Alliance, has issued a call for Jamaicans to boycott the 2023 Labor Day activities that are scheduled for Tuesday, May 23rd, in protest against the government's insistence on granting hefty salary increases to parliamentarians. I call on all citizens to stay home and use the day to labor in their personal spaces instead of engaging in public activities as outlined by the government, Bailey said in a release. He added that this action would send a strong message to the political leaders in Jamaica that Jamaicans should not be taken for granted or exploited, and reinforce that serving in the interests of the overall society and the well-being of all Jamaicans is a central reason why they were elected to office. According to Bailey, the Labor Day holiday, which was rooted in the thinking that workers should be recognized for their contribution to nation building while creating activities to improve the physical spaces in the country and boost national pride, has now been undermined, latest act of greed by the government. In a previous statement, Bailey promised to lead a public campaign with the support of the church community, the private sector, and other well-thinking Jamaicans to speak out against what he described as an injustice to the citizens and to keep protesting until the new salary package has been reviewed. According to Bailey, the unconscionable, disgraceful, and insensitive increases in salaries that the Ministry of Finance announced were to benefit a select number of privileged public servants, that this to my mind is an insult and a slap in the face of the average working class Jamaican. He went on to indicate that the significant salary increases for elected politicians are symbolic of an acceleration in moral decay aimed at widening the class structure, while being insensitive to the plight of the Jamaican people, generally continue to suffer from economic hardships.
Parliament convened and gone, and Nigel, the Minister of Finance, stood up and told the country what each of these positions would now be earning. And it's a very difficult pill for the country to swallow. I must say to you, I have spoken on this up to yesterday in a press conference, and I've made my personal position clear. But it's unjustifiable for Jamaica to be paying its political class at levels which are way out of whack of our regional peers. Countries like Bahamas, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, and so on. Countries that enjoy much higher levels of income per capita than we do. countries that have achieved higher levels of growth than we have. How do we justify giving such a huge increase overnight to the political class? Especially when so many public servants felt hard done by and aggrieved by the restructuring. Not the ones at the top who did very well, not the ones at the bottom who got a percentage increase, which we must say we're happy for them, but the majority in the middle, the rank and file, the teachers, the police officers, the correctional officers, and so on. They have said it, that they are not happy with the way it was done or the outcome. So comrades, this thing has to be revisited. The government needs to wheel and come again. Now, there must be, I think, an acceptance that people who are making decisions on behalf of the people, who are running the country and expending public resources, and who are elected by the people to do that, they must receive reasonable remuneration. That, I think, should not be a matter for debate. But there must be balance. The thing must not be so outrageously high that the rest of the people in the country feel that this is just an instance of politicians looking after themselves and not after the people. So I say to the Jamaica Labour Party government, revisit this issue. You chose to fix salaries off of the highest subcategory of the highest band in the public sector wage scale under the new restructuring. And the result has been huge increases never seen before, as far as I'm aware, in the history of Jamaica for elected officials. The country is not accepting it. We must not go forward with it in this form. Revisit it, adjust it appropriately, consult widely, and come with a better, more palatable package that is proportionate to how our economy is performing and that the people will feel is justified.